And we've reached the final boss in our Facts series, looking at the major antagonists in the Fatal Frame series. So prepare your raincoats or something as we delve into the life and story of Kurosawa Ouse, the terrifying Maiden of Black Water from Fatal Frame 5. 1. We're not given any solid information on when Ouse was born, nor when she died. We can only infer from other ages and events in the series that we do know. And so it's likely that Ouse was born sometime around 1835, give or take. As for when she entered her casket, again, we don't know for sure, but if we assume she was around her early 20s or so, then this would place it sometime around 1855-ish. 2. Kurosawa isn't Ouse's maiden name. It was the name she was given when she was selected to become a great pillar on the mountain. As I'm sure you know by now, Kurosawa means black swamp, and being that these are, maidens of black water, it shouldn't be a mystery why the most important shrine maidens receive this name. 3. Her first name, meanwhile, uses the kanji for meeting or date, and generation or lifetime. However, when used together, these characters have a different meaning that pretty much explains the whole plot of the game. A secret meeting between a man and a woman. It can also refer simply to the chance or opportunity for a man and a woman to meet. 4. In Japanese, Ouse is voiced by Kuwashima Hoko, a singer and voice actress who, again, has been in no doubt numerous shows you've watched over the years. Some of my personal favourites would be Azumanga Daioh, X, and Da Zephon. She has also done extensive video game work, featuring in series such as Metal Gear Solid, Dead or Alive, and Castlevania, amongst many others. And while she does have an English voice actor, who that is currently remains unknown. 5. We don't know a lot about Ouse's youth, but in her first diary entry in the Water Design Journal, Ouse tells us that she became a shrine maiden after I survived that flood. Similar to Deika from Fatal Frame 3, which, again, the devs considered 5 to be a direct sequel to that game. Ouse lost her entire family in that flood, and when she woke up, half dead, she was alone and surrounded by corpses. It was this tragedy that gave her the ability to see the other side, and it was this tragedy that forced her to become a shrine maiden at nearby Mount Hikami, because she simply had no other choice. She was a young woman all alone in 1850s or so Japan, who could see ghosts. As she tells us, that was my calling. 6. Ouse's theme in this game, much like Yuri's, is her obsession with being alone. She was literally the sole survivor of a flood who woke up surrounded not just by corpses, but now with the ability to see the spirits of those who had died as well. In her second diary, she tells us that, since surviving the flood, I've thought I would live alone, and that I would die alone. However, upon hearing of Mount Hikami's practice of ghost marriage, she gained a little hope that perhaps, at the very least, she might not be alone in the afterlife. 7. And on that note, Ouse's design is, of course, based upon traditional Japanese bridal wear. This is fairly evident in her regular human form, where we see her in her beautiful wedding kimono and hood. And, in her ghost form, that's tainted by the black waters, and she's surrounded by incredibly long hair as well. 8. Shrine maidens on Mount Hikami were able to glance people before death, an act allowing them to see into a person's thoughts and emotions, allowing them to move on to the other side with no hidden secrets or sins. Most maidens had to physically touch a person to do this, but the strongest could merely look at a person and see into their soul. Ouse was powerful enough that she too could merely look at people to glance them, and even in her tainted state after her failed ritual, she continues to do so. In fact, in her 5th journal entry, she tells us, "I can see you as well. You are fixated with death. You are afraid of being alone." The you she is talking about here is, of course, Yuri, the main character. 9. As Ouse spent more time on Mount Hikami, she eventually reached a turning point where she simply could not glance anymore. "I have glanced so many deaths. The pain is overflowing. I cannot handle any more. My heart has reached its limit." When a shrine maiden is unable to take on any further pain, then it's time for her to become a pillar. And in Ouse's case, her great power meant she was the perfect fit to become a great pillar, submerged in the shadow spring itself. 10. In preparation for Ouse's ritual, a young budding photographer was invited to take her photo. Traditionally, a painting was made of the shrine maiden that would then be used for her ghost marriage after she was put in a casket. But, being an all-important great pillar, the decision was made to have a photograph taken instead, so as to better capture her essence. Unfortunately for everyone involved, that photographer ended up being the young Dr. Ouse, and his skill with cameras was so great that he actually captured a tiny piece of Ouse's soul in that single photo he took of her. 11. Although their time together was only brief, Ouse fell deeply for the good young doctor. "I cried when he left me. I cried until I couldn't breathe. I cried until I thought I might melt away into nothing," she tells us. As we see in one of the endings, Ouse's strong glancing ability means that she saw Dr. Ouse's feelings for her as well, and realizing that he also loved her, she was absolutely heartbroken that their roles in life meant they could never be together. But rather than running and living for herself, she willingly chose to fulfill her role as a shrine maiden, even knowing her feelings for Kunihiko were reciprocated. 12. On that note, Ouse has 4 different endings in the game. In Nen's Love After Death ending, she finally gets to hear the confession she wanted from Dr. Ouse all along, soothing her soul and allowing her to return the favor. In Nen's Alone in the Casket ending, he takes another photo of her and she accepts that she must be alone in the afterlife as well. In Yuri's Embrace ending, Ouse reminds Yuri that she's not alone, and unable to take it any longer, Yuri steps into her arms and they fall off a cliff together. And in Yuri's Bride from Blackwater ending, arguably the canon one, Yuri glances Ouse's pain, allowing her to be purified and finally move on. 13. Unlike other rituals in the series, 5 doesn't give us a solid reason as to why Ouse's actually fails. We're given numerous hints, but never outright told why. This has led to numerous theories about what might have actually happened at the moment of failure. Was it because Ouse still had lingering feelings for Dr. Ouse, and thus didn't truly want to die? Was it because Dr. Ouse took a tiny piece of her soul with him in that photograph he took, leaving her incomplete? Was it because of her strong glancing ability that allowed her to glance all the shrine maidens who were being killed as she was being put in her casket, while she was already full from all the death she had seen in her short lifetime? Was it all of the above? The game doesn't outright tell us, although it does hint that the final part, with all the maidens dying, was the most important factor overall. 14. Ouse's final battle plays out unlike any others in the series to date. You encounter her at the Shadow Spring, and here the fight has 2 phases. underwater and above. Fighting underwater is a first for the series, and although you can technically end the fight above ground the first time, if you're quick enough, the chance to glance Ouse here is so small that most people will have to battle her several times before they're finally able to grab her. 15. And finally, Ouse's original concept comes from a rather unexpected place: Christianity. According to Shibata, there was a poem by Takahashi Mutsuo that he liked that was based on a Christian worldview. In the poem, it describes being born as continuously falling from heaven, waiting for someone to reach out and help you. Knowing they wanted Fatal Frame 5 to be based around water, Shibata then saw a vision of a woman dressed in traditional Japanese bridal wear, falling continuously, like the poem. But instead of falling from heaven, she was falling through water. And that is 15 facts about Kurosawa Ouse, the main antagonist from Fatal Frame 5. But what did you guys think of this one? Are there any other characters or games you'd like me to explore? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.